I know you're probably reading the title, right? You're like, yo, Jay's gonna do it. No, I'm not. This is gonna be an interesting topic. For anybody that doesn't know that's watching this, basically, I run a Discord, and then there's a vocals usually in the morning, started by an individual who I've known for quite some time. And one of the topics today were, could you possibly overthrow the government? Could you abolish it? You hear a lot of people that are either Second Amendment touter, absolutely love it. They have all these pistols and rifles and guns at home, and some have howitzers, and they feel that in given circumstances, that if something was to go down, that they would be able to fight back. And I think where people get this idea from is movies, right? Because without movies, you wouldn't be able to have this type of mindset. It wouldn't be realistic enough unless it's depicted on a silver screen. And one of the things that they talk about is, it's in the Constitution. I would, let's get technical first, and then we're going to get to a real world scenario. First off, I want you to tell me where in the Constitution it is. Just tell me where it is. It's not. What it is the Constitution is essentially post the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence was kind of like a pass for George Washington because he was a traitor, right? It was under Britain's rule, and then he opposed it, and then we fought back, and then we are what we are today. So the Constitution was made like, these are the laws that we should have. And then you have the Bill of Rights, which is essentially the first 10 um, amendments in the Constitution. But people always say, well, what's in there, we could do it. There's no way that I am to believe that anybody at any time can simply overthrow the government. What you're talking about here is not, we're not talking about some January 6th shit. We're not talking about uh, the burning of the White House in 1812. We're not talking about any of that. If there is a martial law and active duty now patrols the streets, we're not talking about the nasty girls. We're talking about active duty. I think a lot of people don't know what happens in the military. So automatically you assume it's safe. Whatever you see on TV, that's what it is. And I could do that. Hence, people play Call of Duty. They play Fortnite because that's about as close as you're going to. Well, I guess the closest you're going to get is to fire at live hunting game. Rabbits, deers. But they don't fight back, right? They just run. I don't know. I guess I've seen some hunters get impaled by antlers. I guess they could fight back, but realistically enough, they don't. So, but people say this because they see these in these movies and they're like, I could do that. I could prepare myself for a time of war inside of the States. You might have the best rifles. You might have, and that's a long stretch, but fine. You have the best rifles. You have the best pistols. You know what they have that you don't? Explosives. Okay, so you got a couple grenades. All right. Well, when people get deployed, essentially every person that has boots on ground has grenades. They outnumber you and they outman you. They out weaponize you. There's a lot. They have Air Force, red planes, helicopters. That's not just the Air Force. You have the Navy. You have Army. You have a lot of different branches. But there are people, and I will say this: there are people that I'm subscribed to on YouTube that truly believe. They don't really talk so much about the zombie apocalypse, but I can't believe that's even a topic. Uh, they don't talk about that because that's not something that could come to fruition. That it's too far fetched. Oh, like you overthrowing the government isn't. No, of course not. You know, the idea of the Declaration of Independence is because of that was a country that was running what is known to be today as United States of America. Okay, so it's quite different. That would be, for lack of better terms, a civil war. Even though I don't know, it wouldn't be revolutionary. I don't know. It would be. I don't know what it would be called. I guess it would be a second Revolutionary War because it's for the nation. I would assume. Once people start getting shot at, the cards are changed now on the table. It's no longer let me shoot back, let me grab my buddies. You seen the movie Patriot, yeah? You know why they were good? Because they didn't have choppers. They had horseback. That's it. Horseback. They didn't have cars. They didn't have armored vehicles. It was just a bunch of dudes in a bush throwing axes, shooting like single shot rounds. So, could you, in a real world scenario, no offense, in no shape or form do I think it is possible. I don't even think if you said, you know what, we're gonna take half of the American citizens, half. Let's just even it out. Let's go 250. You get 250 million people. 250. There's no way I am to believe that $250 million would not get what 250 million people would not get wiped out. Absolutely. Yes. But there's people that believe this. I'm going to sound like an extreme left wingist. I'm not. You have to look up the argument of we the people. It's not just about the Second Amendment. It's not. It goes much deeper than that. The tattoo of we the people. I'm not saying it's racist by no stretch of the means. I want to be clear here because there's people that believe that. Uh, you have to look it up. Majority of those people believe that that is what they could do, and it's not just about it's about what America is, not so much how it became to be. I think it's a solid topic. I think it's a good topic when you have multiple people because when you'll come up with all these reasons as to why I don't know if it's more the people that don't agree with how the government is run. That's why you have impeachment processes. That's why you have ways to do things. You're not in a position where you're about to lose the nation. You might lose it because of inflation or you might lose it because of immigrants, but you're not going to lose it because the government wants to overreach. I would argue instead the government did overreach a bit with the whole COVID situation. All governments, all, whether we're talking about federal, state, yes. Everybody shut down, can't go outside. Did they overstep the boundaries? Yes. Do I think it's means to overthrow it? Absolutely not. Because the people stood up, the people said, listen, I don't want to sit inside anymore. Then even places like New Jersey, which is an extremely blue state, said, okay, we got to get people outside again. This is getting crazy. It's getting bonkers. And that's not overthrowing the government. That's just people speaking up. The Million Man March, great example. People wanted to get their point across. You took, what was it, 1.1, 1.2 million people to D.C.? Laws were made. There's proper procedures to fix things. I don't know why in a real world. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this. I wouldn't so much be worried about. I wouldn't so much be worried about a federal thing or a state or a local thing. What I'd be worried about is other countries. China. Do I think we at some point will go to war with China? Absolutely, I do. Yes. Without a shadow of a doubt. Yes. If I had to take a guesstimation, I would say probably 10 years, maybe. I think if we keep this up, we'll go to war with Russia too. But that's another story in itself. And you have people that say, well, I would do something. If Russia came to the streets, first off, there has never, and I want to be clear here, since UK, there has never been a war on America, North America. I have to be clear here because someone's going to try to correct me on North American soil. There has never been where the Germans are here in Florida trying to take shit off. It's never been. Never. Okay? The closest thing you're going to have is with UK, United Kingdom. I'm trying to think of all the other countries involved that were with UK. France was with Spain, was with UK. Spain, UK. What's the other one? Oh, it's not Germany. I can't think of it right now. But that's the closest that we got. And honestly, if you were to look down the street and you saw a tank coming down the street, I could promise you that your small arms fire isn't going to do anything. Just lay down your weapons and pray that they don't do shit. I'm not saying don't fight, but first off, if that happens, I don't even know why you're just in your normal house. You should be building a shelter like those rich people do. You know, if you were that serious, because a lot of these people are not serious. They don't have basements. They've got like a living room with a bunch of weaponry on the wall, crossbows and axes, and like it's some type of medieval times. Shit's about to get thick. You're gonna grab your dual-bladed axes, your fire axe, your stiletto blade, and your 9mm, and you are ready to go. How you gonna eat? How you gonna stay warm? Is that all you're worried about? Is just your weapons? If it comes down to that, I think the last thing you need is weapons, right? You got to survive, but people don't think about that. They think about a real world scenario. We're about to get taken over. What are we going to do? Nothing. That's the answer. That is the answer. Leave that to the people that have the gun power to do it. And if those people, let me be more clear, if they're running out of ammo and they're not holding up well, the chances are neither will you. Here's the better question. World War II, Germany. Picture yourself. It's 1941. Do you think, this is a question I actually don't know the answer to. Do you think that there was resistance against Hitler? There had to be, right? I mean, you had other parties, but obviously you wiped those out. But do you think that the civilians that owned firearms are fighting back against the Strupsstaffel, the SS, or the Wehrmacht? Do you think that? Because I don't. That is the last thing I think of, is that civilians is out there shooting at a panther coming down the street. No, I don't see that. Mm-mm. Nope. I don't even see that when the Russians, right? Because I was watching some clips of the Russians invading back Germany, and you had some people that had swastikas on the side of their house. They didn't fight back. Nope. Mm-mm. They just didn't want to get captured by the Russians. It's the civilians I'm talking about. I'm not talking about military. Civilians. I don't think we would do anything. You even talk about people, if they try to take away my Second Amendment rights, you're going to have to pry this weapon from my cold, dead hands. Oh, don't worry, they will. It'll be all right. It's like one of those things. It's going to sound dark, but I don't mean it in the way that it's going to sound. But I would like to see how that plays out. You know, like no matter how I say that, it sounds bad. I want to see that play out, not in a TV show, not in a movie. No, real life situation. What's going to happen? What's going to go down? There was some, yeah, I don't know too much about that, honestly, about Germans that fought against Hitler's army while he was invading other countries. Does that make sense? I don't, I know nothing about that because it's not something you think of. You know, and when you start talking about foreign affairs, it doesn't matter who's president, right? It doesn't matter if it was Biden or Trump. It's foreign affairs. Once you hit soil, I do think civilians would fight back. I do, but how many of them would actually go help out? And honestly, I don't even think the military would want you behind them, right? They might send you in the front, right? Like, I mean, that's not protocol, but I'm just saying if I got 10 dudes that are like Rambo, they got bow and arrows and I don't know, a Bowie knife, and they think that they could, hey, listen, I'll sit right here. You go ahead. Let me know. Let me know when it's clear, right? Just go ahead. I would like to see that because you're not. You're not. Because if you were, you would have joined the military to begin with. But the military's got too many rules and you got flat feet, so you didn't join. And a lot of the people that are into firearms, this is going to upset some people here. A lot of people that are into firearms are military, meaning that they came from that. They know how to fire it. They know how to clear a weapon. They know everything out of the gate. There's a reason why when you do a concealed carry that, I'd almost say 100% of the time, but I'll go 99%. I'll factor in that 1% or that 9 out of 10. Let me go there. If you have military experience, you don't have to do any of the training classes or nothing. That's just any military experience. You could be a paper pusher. Doesn't matter. You're good to go. Good. Here's your concealed carry. But then you have people that didn't join the military and are trying to do everything that the civilian guy's doing, and you can't. You just can't because you don't have that experience. You have the experience of shooting at a plinker, right? Or you have the experience of shooting at a paper target. And yeah, some paper targets move, but they don't fight back, right? The head doesn't fly off the paper target and give you a paper cut on your forehead. The only thing that fight back is maybe a shell coming out of your weapon. You get pissed off when that rolls down your back. Like you get angry, you start moving. No, you don't do any of that. So I just see what we have in civilians and how much of a pussy world we live in, where it's a bunch of soft, squishy individuals. I can't see that in a combat situation. That's coming from somebody that has seen combat. If you don't know any of my backstory, I have seen combat. So, and I've seen, I want to be clear, I've seen soldiers on the other side that weren't even of age to be soldier. I guess soldier is a bit of a stretch. I've seen people fighting that were not an age that you would consider good to go out and go shoot the enemy. Here you have 40-year-old talking about how good their grouping was. But I'm not throwing, I don't want to throw judgment. I'm just saying in a real world scenario, you're not going to do anything. That's what you're going to do. You're going to sit home, you're going to sit in a room, you're going to lock your doors and hope to God. Anybody here ever play Last of Us? I don't know if it's in the show. Last of Us. Part 1, Part 2, and the game's H1. H1 if you've even seen the game. Not the show, because I don't think they depict it in the show. H1, Last of Us. I guess you could use the show. I'm trying to remember when I watched it. I know the game is much better than the show. But I can tell you, in the very beginning of Last of Us, it's such a oh God, it's making me emotional. The first part of Last of Us, Part 1. Oh my God. Anyway, in a real world scenario, what happens? Right? Everybody's hiding. And they're not really zombies per se. They're fungus, but they're just gonna make my play Last of Us now. But in that scenario, what is everybody doing? Even the military, right? Even the military is hunkering down. That's probably what's going to happen. Not Patriot. Not. I'm trying to think of a movie that shows. What is that? Cloverfield. Yeah, Cloverfield. That's a good example. The second one, with the basement, or it might be the third one. I don't know if they made the third one. Last of Us is a good depiction of, I think, what would happen. People doing nothing. Some people don't even clean their weapons. Some people never even fire their weapons. They just have them. You just have them. You don't know what they do. You don't know how it works. You think it's like a camera. You just point and shoot. All right. Cloverfield Lane. Yeah, in the basement. That's what. Yeah, I think it's like a refinished basement, right? Or it's like a trailer underground or something. Yeah, that. I think you'd be safer with that. I wonder how much would it be to build that? Is that doomsday scenarios? You have a better chance of fighting off a meteor than you do the enemy. Hide in the basement. The meteor's not going to come find you, and might land in Jersey, and you might be safe in Chile or Argentina. Yeah, John Goodman. Yep, the weirdo. I think it's always a fascinating conversation. It's not like I'm trying to be right here. I'm just thinking in a real world scenario, the type of weaponry that the military has versus what civilian has. Yeah, there's a couple people like FPS Russia that have some wacky shit. That's one dude. It's one. All right, fine. It's 50. All right, fine. It's 10,000. Okay. And I think to be even more clear, I'd have to Google this, which I don't want to do because I feel like I would remove some of the authenticity of this. I want to say that the terminology correctly is abolish and alter, maybe, or it's not destroy. It's abolish and something. I damn, bro. I had to do an essay on this. I think in fifth grade or sixth grade for the Declaration of Independence. There is a random ass bird somehow sticking to my window right now. Oh, oh, oh. He is fighting with himself. There is just a. Oh, no, 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 no. Hold on. He's on the seal now. You hear it, right? He's trying to fight it. He's. There you go. Got it. You hear him, right? He's flying into the window. Because it's mirror tinted, so he thinks that the bird that he's going after is another bird. That's just beating his own ass. Anyway, yeah, let me pull this up real quick because I want to see something. Independence, abolish government. Oh, I think I was right the first. The Declaration of Independence asserts the right of the people to alter or abolish a government that becomes destructive of their rights, emphasizing popular sovereignty and the people's responsibility to fight against tyranny. Alter or abolish. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the whole declaration, but right. Alter and abolish. Yeah. So, yeah, I wanted to give my opinion on that. It's an interesting stream. I feel like whatever platform that this gets published to, they're gonna think that I want to overthrow the government. No, I don't. I actually don't want any part of that. If the government, I'll tell you my situation. What I would do if the government came, if the government came to my house and said, you have to give us, I don't know why, but you have to give us all of your firearms. Okay. Okay. If the enemy showed up in my, you gonna say, Jay, you're a pussy. No, I'm not. I'm just not stupid. If the enemy showed up in my house and said, I would really like to see how many people would die for their country, because if they would, why didn't you sign up to join the military? It's a genuine question. If you feel that how strong you do about that Second Amendment, why did you not fight for this country? Like, if you feel that strong, why didn't you do something about it? Especially considering if that was to happen, there would probably be a call to arms. Like, everybody, it's not even martial law. Just everybody, we implore you to fight, to do whatever you got to do outside of your house. I think there would be people. I do against the enemy, not against the government. No, I don't think people are stupid enough. You want all the rights, right? Jack Nicholson said it best. I don't want to mess up his quote, but
Colonel.
You snotty little bastard.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for a recess.
I'd like an answer to the question, Judge.
The court will wait for an answer.
If Lieutenant Kendrick gave an order that Santiago wasn't to be touched, then why did he have to be transferred? Colonel, Lieutenant Kendrick ordered the code red, didn't he? Because that's what you told Lieutenant Kendrick to do.
Object!
And when it went bad, you cut these guys loose!
Your Honor!
You had
Counsel, I'll
Marcus
hold you
inside
in
a phony
contempt.
transfer!
Your Honor!
You doctored the logbook!
Damn it, Captain!
You coerced the doctor!
Consider
No,
yourself in
I'm asking you.
contempt.
Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled to.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth. Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know, that Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives, and my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone of a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide, and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Did you order the code red?
I did the job.
Did you order the code red?
You're goddamn right I did!